Dear viewers, today we will discuss very important topic related to statistics, concept of class limits and class boundaries. Today we will discuss what is class limits and class boundaries in statistics subject. In statistics, class limits and class boundaries are used to define the intervals or range for grouping data in a frequency distribution. They help to organize and summarize large sets of data into manageable and meaningful categories. Class limits. Now we will discuss what is class limits. Class limits are the lowest and highest values that can belong to a class in a frequency distribution. They are the actual data values that mark the boundaries between one class intervals and the next. The lower class limit is the smallest value in a class, while the upper class limit is the largest value in a class. Example, if you have information about the heights of the pupils in a class, for instance, you could divide them into interval. For example, 140 to 150 first group, 151 to 160 second group, 161 to 170 third group, and so forth. Mean this is the groups or class limits. Okay, 150 to 140 to 150 is the class, 151 to 160 second class, 161 to 170 third class. Or you can say that 140 is lower class limit and 170 is the upper class limit, and so forth. In this instance, the first interval's lower class limit is 140 and the upper class limit is 150. Mean first class limit, this is the lower class limit 140 and 150 upper. Same 151 lower class limit and 160 upper class limit. Next, we will discuss what is class boundaries or concept of class boundaries. Class boundaries do not correspond to real data values. Rather, they are the values that divide one class interval from another. They fall in the middle of the range between the top and lower limits of one class. To prevent class periods from overlapping, class boundaries are used. For example, let's say you have a set of data on the ages of people in a certain town. You want to group them into class intervals of 10 years each, starting from 20 years old. The class boundaries for the first interval would be 19.5 and 20.5, which are halfway between the upper limit of 20 and the lower limit of 30. You can say that in class boundaries, no gap between groups. For example, 19.5 to 20.5. Second group is 20.5 to 21.5. You can say that no gap between two values. In summary, class limits are the actual data values that mark the boundaries between one class interval and the next, while class boundaries are the values that separate one class interval from another and ensure that there is no overlap. Both are important concepts in statistics for organizing and summarizing data into frequency distributions.